In today's video, I thought I would share with you a recent conversation I had with a gentleman by the name of Marco, who I recently met. He's another YouTube creative, but he's also responsible for making an amazing Who Shot Mr. Burns Homebrew Pinball. So we had a casual conversation where he went through the inner workings of what his pinball machine is all about, the rule set, some headaches and hurdles along the way of building and creating his own project from scratch. Pull up a chair, get some popcorn, get a drink, because it is a long video, but I'll put timestamps to relevant information down in the video description box below, and enjoy, guys.
Hey, Doug. Well, thanks for having me. First of all, I'm a big fan of your channel. My name is Marco, and I'm a fellow YouTuber, but I'm an art YouTuber. But adjacent to that, I have been a pinball fanatic my whole life. And we were just chatting before we hit record that in seventh grade, my dad and I built a crappy pinball machine out of a piece of plywood and a couple PVC pipes that we chopped up with a hacksaw. And there was no lights, no electronics in it at all, but you could throw the ball around and stuff. And I, thanks to the community of homebrewers, specifically, Fast Pinball, MPF, it's kind of made my dream come true to where I spent the last 2 years building a pinball machine. And to the extent that I can encourage other people to try the project themselves, especially get on board with some of these awesome tools we have. I want to be able to blast out that message. That's why that's why I'm here chatting with you, Doug. And
Machine is here. It's Simpsons, specifically my favorite episode is
Who
the
Shot
Wizard
Mr.
Mode.
Burns?
It's Who Shot Mr. Burns. Yeah,
Love it.
and
I
the Wizard
love
Mode
it.
area is here. So now in my game, it's not Maggie. As you can see on the side art, Maggie is innocent. Kid of the 90s. So it was the first time I ever experienced a whodunit in general. So I was so captivated. And the episode's always stuck with me. I mean, you know how nostalgia is. And
Mm-hmm.
so I'm like, when I was thinking of a project, because the pinball machine, this took me 2 years, almost to the day. And I thought, well, if I'm going to do my first homebrew pinball machine project, I need a theme that's going to speak to me for 2 years. Like, I can't get bored of the theme. That would be terrible for progress and inspiration. So I knew The Simpsons, I'd have that. And I also didn't want to copy Simpsons Pinball Party or the Data East one. So, it's an original design, and I thought, hey, let's theme it around Who Shot Mr. Burns. So here's the suspects. The game chooses one at random every game you play, so it's always different. And but that's just the wizard mode. To get there, you got to progress through a bunch of like classic Simpsons. You got Flaming Moe's, Nuclear Meltdown, Beer Baron, a bunch of classic songs are in here, and Treehouse of Horror. If you progress through those, you unlock wizard mode. And
Nice.
there's other things too. I'll go through the playfield.
Yeah,
Most
absolutely.
Tavern here. Yeah, a big part of the game is collecting duffs, which you spell. There's the duff targets DUF F. You spell duff, then you bash this giant big bash toy duff
Oh,
to
nice.
collect it, and then you can go drink those duffs here in Moe's.
So is that
And
a
the more
scoop?
duffs you drink, obviously, it's
Is that a scoop ejector in that left corner?
yep.
Okay.
That's right. Moses the scoop. Yep. And the more duffs you drink, obviously it's points, but duffs, some drinking unlocks some of these modes. Like you unlock these major modes in different ways. Drinking duffs will unlock these two, Beer Baron and Flaming modes, which makes sense because they're both connected to beer. So Beer Baron. Any Simpsons fan will probably remember Beer Baron. I know you're a Simpsons fan, Doug. You told me
Yes,
that, right?
yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So here's the bowling alley, and you collect bowling balls in Beer Baron mode, which you then bowl right into Moe's. Feeding all the alcoholics in there, mostly Barney. Uh, in Flaming Moe's, you collect your ingredients with the bottles, which are over here on the orbits. Um, and there's a bunch of other things that you do in that mode to like create the Flaming Moe's drink, and then Moe steals it. You kind of play through the episode basically in Beer Baron and Flaming Moe's. Um, it's not just about the modes though. Like throughout the game, the thing I like about pinball is like there are the big modes you want to achieve, but you can do, when you're just in regular base mode, you can do things all the time. Like in my game, you can collect duffs all the time and bash the bash toy to collect it. There's also the swear jar here, and the swear jar is also a little scoop that goes in there and it ejects into this loop down here. The swear jar gives you money, These are coins, is money that you then can spend up at the Quickie Mart up here.
Wow.
And the Quickie Mart, and you can buy, you know, again, classic Simpsons. You can buy the Malk, Bobo, Frostilicus, Squishy, and remember that hot dog that food drops on the floor?
Oh, absolutely. The hot dog, and I was just thinking of the Malk is like rich in vitamin R or something like that. I was trying to remember.
Vitamin R.
Yeah.
You got it. You
Yeah.
got it. Yeah. And so yeah, so that's Quickie Mart is not a mode. It's something that's always available throughout the game. Um, you know, this is Lisa as a mystery award. There's where you shoot the Quickie Mart is in there. One of my other favorite episodes is Frank Grimes, where it's called
Good
Homer
old
Then.
Grimy.
Get all grimy. In fact, I screwed up. I should have called him Grimy, not Grimes. But anyway, that's too late to fix that. But anyway, if you get combos, there's like these combo lights around the playfield, the blue ones. If you shoot enough combos, you can drop this ramp. This ramp will come down, and you can shoot up the ramp around. So here's Homer's office. You can go up around his office. There's a ramp back there. You go up around his office, and remember Frank Grimes is next door to Homer's office, right?
Yeah.
So you bother Frank Grimes every time you shoot up there, and it bothers him. And Frank Grimes is a meltdown multi-ball multiplier. So in meltdown multi-ball, the amount of times you bothered Frank Grimes adds to your jackpots in a big way because it's a pretty tough shot. And so like there's I mean there's probably a lot more in it, but that's a basic rundown of like the Simpsons nerd level we're talking about here.
Well, just for theme integration, absolutely. I gotta say, tip of the cap to you because you've killed it with the little details, especially for Simpsons nerds out there that'll have a fine appreciation for this bit of nostalgia. But I mean, and your layout looks pretty amazing as well. How many iterations do you think you went through before you kind of like dialed in your final layout here?
Yeah, oh thanks. Well, I'll show you so it's the second piece of plywood, but it's my third iteration. This is the rough, I'll just lay this on the floor.
Hmm.
This is what it looked like for the first year and a half. It was this first piece of plywood. You can see this was just acrylic paint. You see some
Yeah.
basic art ideas back there of the bowling alley, right? And you see all like the million holes. That's me like drilling something, putting it on, saying, "Whoops, that's in the wrong spot," moving it. Move everything by millimeters. It's amazing how much that changes. Anyone
Oh,
who's like,
geometry, yeah. I mean,
yeah,
you think just, I mean, anybody that's ever played a bad pinball game is like, oh, why don't they make this game better? It's like,
yeah.
you'd be surprised just how little details can, change the effectiveness of a shot.
Absolutely. And I know, Doug, you've dialed in pinball machines, you've rethemed, you know all about it. But I
Uh-huh.
was amazed. I had never before this project, like, I own machines here and I've like fixed these, but I've never rethemed. I've never like had to work with the nuts and bolts of the game, like from the design standpoint. So I was amazed at how much just little changes really matters in how the game plays. Yeah, even here, like the other day I made a change. I moved the Big Bash toy duck can just over a millimeter just to open this tower lane a little bit. Oh, the nuclear power plant. This is on a motor, so you can. I'll show you. I'll start the game maybe a bit
Does
later.
it rotate? Yeah, it looks like it
It does.
rotates.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So
That's killer.
yeah. I mean, I want to show you the hardware stuff and talk about like fast pinball. But here, I'll show you the power plant first. Let me just start a game here.
Okay, go for it.
Okay, so here's the ball. Let me just plunge it. That's a skill shot. Okay, so if you go up this tower lane,
Uh-huh.
there's a switch in there that'll rotate the tower. Let's see if I can move it. Hang on. Okay, there we go. Okay, the tower rotates and interfaces with there. If I put a ball in there, okay. So I'm in the tower and I can decide where it goes. And I change it with the flipper buttons. So I'm hitting the flipper buttons
Oh,
and I can
wow.
tell it where to go. For example, if I want to go down this big ramp here,
So you
I
got
can
what?
hit the,
Flipper. Oh, so you got three different options there you can
I
choose, it
can
looks like.
start. That's right. Yeah. Three different options. 1, 2, and 3. That's a ball lock, by the way. Though my locks are not lit right now, so I can't choose that. But
Yeah.
if I chose this one, it's the toxic waste. It gives me a bit of an animation, and then it'll kick out here. There we go. That comes down. Oh, and the ramp is down too. Yeah.
Very
There
cool.
we
And you were
go.
saying earlier, like before we hit record and everything, like you came into this not really with any kind of experience with, building homebrews, like other than your childhood, Tinker Toy project with dad. Like you're not a coder, you're not a guy that's built pinball machines. You're an artist by trade.
That's right. Yeah. So from my experience and talking to the pinball community, the homebrew community, everyone who comes into the project has a few skill sets that they already are good at that they bring to the table, but nobody knows everything. Like you have to do, I mean, assuming you're doing it yourself, people do it with teams as well, but you have to do, design, art, coding, which involves like the design involves like woodworking, metalworking. You got to, print stuff and, but here, making plastics, the 3D printing.
Yeah,
There's so many things that,
engineering, just
yeah,
everything.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like, and that's why to me, pinball is the ultimate toy. It's got everything. Like, what what more could you want, right? So I came into the project. I'm a professional artist. That's what I had in my professional toolkit. So I knew I could do well. First of all, any of the visual artwork, I knew I could do that. I could copy the style of the Simpsons in terms of drawing, which I wanted to do. I knew I could do that, and because design is kind of adjacent to art, I was pretty confident, especially being a big pinball fan, that I could design a playfield. I was pretty confident, like not that it was easy, but I knew I could probably do that. And it took some iteration. But what I had no idea how to do, I had some very basic electronics knowledge, like basic. So I was scared of that, and I was scared of coding. I had no coding experience at all, except for like a class in high school 20 years ago. So I was like, oh man, am I going to design this thing only to then run into the fact that I can't code it? And I wanted to do it myself. So, but thankfully, thanks to the magic of these tools that I'm going to show you. Okay, so the company is Fast Pinball that make all the hardware. Oh wait, let me show
There
you
you
here.
go. Yeah.
Yeah, Fast Pinball. You see their logo
Hmm.
down here. Yeah, okay, hang on a second. Yeah, you can see it there. Fast Pinball. By the way, their boards are in barrels of fun
Yeah.
machines.
They're
The
they're the
Pidgeotto.
standard, if you will.
Absolutely, yeah. And so what I did when I first started my game was I bought their starter kit. Their starter kit gives you all the power stuff you need and a few of the playfield elements you need to drive some basic solenoids and some lights, and even some servo motors if you wanted. That'll get you started. You can wire, I think, well, not I think, I know you can wire 8 solenoids and 32 switches and like 100 lights maybe, just with their starter kit, probably more than 100 lights. So I'll show
Yeah.
you a couple things that it comes with.
Okay.
This is the main power. They call it the power filter board.
Yeah.
You have two power supplies, just like standard modern pinball, 48 volts and a 12 volt. If anyone has a CGC game, you have the exact same stuff going on there. Although I think they use a transformer. But anyway, 48 volts and a 12 volt. It all feeds into this guy here. If anyone has ever looked into their old Williams games or Stern games, you see these big capacitors. They basically are a voltage reserve to dump voltage because solenoids take a lot of current and voltage drops as a result. So your power all goes in here. It's all fused. This is all straight from Fast. Those are the little fuses there for every circuit in the game. There's 2 circuits for high voltage solenoids, and there's a lighting circuit, a CPU circuit, and a
It's
backbox circuit.
yeah, it's very streamlined.
Yeah, very streamlined. It's all there. This is straight from Fast. The fuses all come with it. You can obviously replace them if needed. You're gonna blow a few. You're gonna blow some fuses when you make a game. That's a good thing though. Anyway, so the power comes out through, I think it's this guy, and this would go in your back box, and the power comes out through these big headers here
Hmm.
and down. We're all familiar with that big cable going down into the playfield, right? That's what this guy is. Then what you then do under the playfield is you mount this guy. This is what they call the power. What's it called? Interchange. The playfield interchange board. So all that power that I just showed
Hmm.
comes down to the playfield and goes right in here. This would be under your playfield, connects right
Okay.
in there. It's the same. This is the same pins. It contains your 48 volts or 12 volts, all in isolated circuits. And then these serial cables. This is just RJ45, like the same as an Ethernet cable.
Hmm.
This talks to the CPU in the back box, and it talks to all the daughter boards, the individual I/O boards, in-out boards that drive solenoids and lights. So all your communication goes through here. And then these little headers here are just power, 12-volt power to power more boards,
Yeah, a
such
little
as
piggyback chain.
Yep, yep, exactly. Such as this guy. So in my Simpsons game, this is the first board that the computer sees. It's called the 3208. Again, it's all fast pinball. 32 means 32 switches, and 8 means 8 solenoid drivers. And you can tell, you see how this guy's big,
Mm-hmm.
and these guys are all small.
Yeah.
The big one is just bigger headers because you're putting a lot more amperage through these connectors for the solenoids. So the big headers are for solenoids, and it's all standard sizes. You go on DigiKey, they have it all, and even Fast will ship you the connectors for all these. And then the small headers, each of these headers can drive up to 8 switches. So the way a switch is wired is so simple. Let's see. Let me just get to the camera here. Okay, so let's just look at one of these switch guys here. They're all numbered. The numbers are small, but you can see the numbers there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. They're all numbered for, that's how you name them in your game. So a switch has 2 wires, a hot and a ground return. That's it, right? So you get the hot coming out of one of these headers, numbered, goes to your switch, and then coming back from your switch, each one of these headers has a ground on it. You can see the letter G at the end. There's actually 2 grounds right at the end there. You
Mm-hmm.
can see the 2 Gs. And that's how you go back to your ground. And of course, under the playfield, I have like a ground bus that, because our grounds are all tied together with your
Yeah.
switches. So I have a ground bus that then goes back into the board. And that's it. You can wire a switch very quickly. Simple, simple. The solenoids are likewise simple, just a hot and a ground, same thing. Now the solenoids are special though because, as you know, they're driven by transistors. So this being an 8 solenoid board, there's your 8 transistors
Mm-hmm.
that drive each solenoid. Those are all, all done for you. You don't even have to think about it. Although if you're like me, you fried a couple on your during
Yeah.
the build.
You'll get accustomed to switching out some transistors here and there for sure.
Yeah, yeah. It helps that, if anyone's ever worked on,
A
especially like
pinball
a
machine.
Williams,
Yeah.
yeah, especially like a Williams, like a 90s or 80s, solid state. It's all the same stuff. It's just this is smaller now, as
Yeah. Smaller, more
30 years
compact,
later.
more refined. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. And as you can see, these boards have 2 connectors for the serial cables, just
Mm-hmm.
in out. So one goes in from the CPU, and then, well, because that's the first in line, so the CPU sees that first, and then it goes out and say, here's another board. You can also get this one with the starter kit. This is not paid advertising, by the way. Fast
Yeah.
doesn't know I'm doing this. I just love the tool so much. This is a board that drives lights and servos. These headers at the bottom are your headers for LEDs. Each of these headers can drive 32 individually addressable LEDs. So that's 32 times 4 in this
Yeah.
board alone. And then up here at the top, there are drivers for servos. You can drive 4 servos with this board. And this is a board that also comes with a starter kit. And that's what I started with. Those are the 2, plus the power supplies, which
Mhm.
I don't have right now. They're in the game. These are new boards I bought for whenever the next build happens. I just stocked up on stuff. Yeah, those are the tools you get. And with those tools and a bit of time, their documentation is amazing on Fast's site. I felt like, as someone who had very basic electronics knowledge, like I knew what a hot and a ground did. Like I knew I could wire a light bulb,
Yeah. You
Um,
had enough knowledge to be dangerous.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah. Um, but from there, reading their website, I swear, I don't know who wrote it. There's a few fast guys, Dave or Eli, Aaron. Shout outs to all them. I'm not sure who wrote the documentation, but they did such an amazing job. I felt like I was putting myself through, a college program just reading their website because it talks about all the safety stuff. Like you need to know about grounding. In fast system, you have actually 2 different grounds, one for the high power solenoids, one for the LEDs. And they explain like, here's what ground is if you don't know. Here's why you need 2 different grounds for your machine because there's going to be some voltage drops that could affect things. But they explain it all, and it's so richly documented that honestly, I was amazed. I'm like, wow, like these guys, they really care about teaching, not just providing the tools saying, oh, yeah, here you go, loser, have fun. No, they want you to learn like how this all works. And it just was like I felt like I wasn't alone, you know, when I was building this. Yeah, the other tool that made it a reality for me was MPF, which stands for Mission Pinball Framework. Are you familiar, Doug?
Yeah, so like that's the code side of it, if you will, right?
Yeah, yeah. So Mission Pinball Framework it's a game engine, really. So I'm not a coder. People ask me like, oh, when I tell them I programmed it, they're like, oh, you're a coder. I'm like, no, I know how to code in MPF, and that's it.
Yeah,
I
very
I don't
very
I don't
limited understanding of coding. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
So MPF, it's based on Python. Python, like the real programmers who made
Hmm.
MPF, built it based on Python. They used Python to create this framework. It's the Mission Pinball framework. What it does is a interface between me and Python. So I can learn in more basic English. Like it feels like I'm writing English when I'm coding in MPF. Yes, there's a learning curve, but it's way less steep than learning Python. They give you all the things that a pinball machine can do, uh, firing solenoids, hitting switches, detecting all that stuff, and then you can write the code based on what should happen with those things. And I can show you a very basic example of how that logic flows. So MPF is like what I call it like an English-based coding language that is the barrier between the middleman, if you will, between you and Python. And then, you know, through the magic of coding or the magic of computers, the computer reads, it converts between the two, and your pinball machine works.
Gotta love the classic intro.
Yeah, yeah, I had to have that. Then it fades away. Okay, so for example, we're in a track mode, right?
Hmm.
Let's say I'm gonna hit a flipper button, and hear what happens.
Yes, Rob. My parents won't let me use scissors.
Children are right from that too well.
It plays a call from the show, right?
I love it. Yeah.
Whenever you hit a flipper button in track mode, I have a pool of I think I'm at 920 something call outs
That's
that
a
I've
bit.
got in it's quite a bit. And I scoured the Simpsons for, you know, just Disney
Yeah.
Plus, just going through episodes, recording bits. I hit it again.
To start with any key. Where's the any key? Yes, tall and bigger. There doesn't seem to be any key.
So I'll show you how simple it was to do that. Okay, I'm gonna go to MPF now, and I'll show you. So I think like viewers will appreciate this because everyone including me, gets terrified by the coding part. Share and yep, this one share. Sweet. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this is MPF. This is the land of coding, which scared the pants off me 2 years ago, and now it's really not that bad.
Yeah, because I can tell you, like, from a person that was in your situation 2 years ago, like, I have no coding experience other than making, like, you know, some basic HTML-based websites in the early 2000s. Like, to me, this looks like the Matrix, you know?
It did to me too. Yep. But check out how simple they've made this. All right. So on the left, I have like chapters. You can think of them as chapters of code, little snippets of code that control different things. So like here's a tracked mode, for example. But I also have a tracked sound. So here are the sounds in my attract mode. Remember, I was saying how I've got almost 1,000 callouts just in attract mode when you hit a flipper button. So I saved all those as WAV files, and here's how you program them. It's something called over here. It's called sound pools, like a pool of sound that it draws from, and I call it flipper callouts. And the type is they force they're done randomly. Force all means it goes through all of them. You can't get any repeats, and like you just list the WAV files. These are all the WAV files of callouts I have. There's all 900 whatever of them. I can keep going.
Good Lord.
Yeah,
I mean, it looks scary, but I mean, to your point, that's actually like, as far as like just the nesting of, you know, the code, it's very straightforward.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll show you how they get called now. So that's me defining the sounds, right? So the game says, okay, I got a pool of sounds here. How do you want me to call them? Well, like, how do you want me to play them? Well, in my attract mode, you have all these little modules. Like, for example, here's light player. Well, it's obvious what that does. It makes lights go.
There's one called Sound Player, which let me just find it. Sound Player, yeah, down here. This is called Sound Player. Well, it plays sounds, obviously. So here's the command that does it. Flipper pressed, which is an event that happens when you push the flipper buttons. You can tell MPF what line of text, it's called an event, what event to say. I've told MPF when I push a flipper button, you say flipper pressed. So when MPF sees flipper pressed, it will it says right here flipper callouts, which is what my sound pool was named, flipper callouts. It will play from the flipper callouts. I've told it to play loops 0, volume 1, and then there's an event when it stopped. So when the sound stops, MPF will say callout finished. I use callout finished so you can't overlap sounds. So if you're rapid firing your flipper buttons, MPF will not play another sound until it sees callout finished. So that's another use for an event. MPF is based on events. Events are just strings of text that some are predefined in MPF. Like, for example, a predefined one would be for your switches, say a flipper button. Let's say you call your flipper button left flipper, left flipper. So automatically in MPF, when you push your left flipper, MPF will post an event called left flipper active. Makes sense, right?
Yeah.
And also when you let go, it'll say left flipper inactive. Those are events that you can tag anything onto. So at any point in your game, you want the left flipper to do something, like besides flip the flipper, you want it to play a sound, you want it to rotate a tower. You just hook on code. You say, look for this left flipper active and hook on your code. In this case, for flipper pressed, which is programmed to left flipper active in my case, I am telling it to play flipper callouts. And it's really like that's how MPF is across the board. It's an event that happens that you then connect code to. Now, there is definitely complexity in pinball. Like events are happening at an unpredictable rate, unpredictable order. So the challenging part for me as someone who is brand new to this coding stuff 2 years ago, I feel like I'm pretty comfortable now with, at least with MPF. The hard part is not actually writing the code. It's like being able to anticipate all the
trying to keep
that,
things organized and cohesive and, making sense of the chaos, if you will.
Yeah, exactly. Because my first test plays were just gong shows, like sounds would overlap each other, like callouts would just overlap each other. Modes would start, and another mode, like if I was starting one major mode, my machine would also start some other mode. It's like, well, those should not be able to start at the same time, stuff like that. And you can code all those provisions in, like so every a mode in MPF is like these chapters of code that I was talking about. So for example, remember about spelling duff? I showed you earlier about spelling duff. Let me just go to my spell duff mode. So this spell duff 1, I've called it, because there's different stages of spelling duff in my game. When you start a game, you start spell duff 1. Whenever you have a mode, you tell MPF at the top when to start it. So for in my game, you can always spell duff. That's a mainstay of the game. So in my game, when mode, see here, it says here, mode skill shot started. When my skill shot is started, which is right at the beginning of your ball, it also starts spell duff. And then this, all of this stuff down here, this is all the code that spell duff looks at. So here you have your shots. I'll just go through one last thing here. Shots. Okay, pinball has a lot of shots. So a shot needs a switch. Well, first of all, a shot needs a name. Duff D begin, I call it, because it's the beginning of my spelling duff. So, and it's the letter D. This is the Duff D target.
Okay.
Begin, because I just call it that because it's the beginning of the game. So you need a switch. Well, the switch is S Duff D. Switch Duff D. I named my switch S Duff D. This tells you the LED. This tells you which light it is. It's L Duff D for light Duff D. My switches are always S underscore. My lights are always L underscore. The color, lime, just one of the pre-programmed color names. You could use all hex codes if you want. It's addressable RGB. You can do whatever you want. I just use lime as this one. And then the profile is the order of what happens to the shot. So my profile is up here in shot profiles. I have two states of the shot. The first state is flashing. The target, the light is flashing, means, hit me. And then when you hit it, it's on. And those are the two states of this shot. So this shot knows to flash LDUFD, and it knows when it starts, it should be flashing. And when it's hit, it should be on.
Okay.
And you can change all that. You can have your shot start off, or you can have it start on and then flashing, whatever you want. You tell it what the order is. It's all here. It's all like, hopefully you can see how like English based this all is.
Yeah, it's not as scary. Like, I mean, it's still lines and lines of code, but I mean,
Yeah.
as far as its understanding and rationale, it's very straightforward as far as, your actions, your tabling and your nesting of data, if you will.
Yeah.
I got to ask you, how many times were you, misplacing a letter or a comma that you were bouncing your head off, against the wall trying to figure out what was going on? How many times did you run into that?
Dude, I've wasted hours of my life, days of my life banging my head against that wall, being like, why won't you run? That's just me being an amateur. But it's funny now. So MPF gives you good error logs. Like when you have an error, it tries its best to say, hey, you've got an error with this line. Sometimes, though, it'll give you more of a generic message. And those are the ones where you bang your head because you're like, why are you crashing?
Yeah, that could be a multitude of things. What do
Yeah.
you mean? Be more
Yeah.
specific. Yeah.
But I tell you, I'd say after about a year, because I coded my machine over 2 years. Like I coded while I made it. And I should interject right there. You can, I can show you here. I can drag this onto my screen. You can test your game virtually. So
Oh, that's handy.
see this picture here?
Yeah.
This is my playfield with
all
the
your
lights.
Yeah.
Lights and switches mapped out. This is before I had the art on there. It's just this flat piece of plywood there.
Yeah, so this is a physical picture that you've uploaded, and then you've
right.
put your lights and corresponds where that's awesome.
Yep. So here, I'll show you. I'll run a virtual game right now. This is what I also wanted to show to viewers who are interested in this stuff. So I'm running my game virtually. Here's the intro screen. Simpsons intro, which you saw a minute ago in the real thing.
Yeah.
And if you look at my game, you see the lights and stuff. That's
everything
doing
in real
exactly
time. Yeah.
what my machine was doing, because it's the same code. It's the exact same code from this computer to my game. I just connect the two, right? And upload code from here to there. So for example, like I'll show you the duff thing. So let me start a game here. Just got to credit it up here. Okay, so let me start a game. I'm just pushing S for start. Okay, now let me just turn on the volume. Okay, you're not going to see a ball. This is not a simulator.
Yeah, it's not virtual pinball or anything like that. Yeah.
The ball is my mouse. Okay, you can see my mouse?
Yeah.
Okay, so remember I just showed you the duff shots that are flashing? Yeah. There they are right there, right? The purple ones?
DUFF,
So
okay.
Let me plunge a ball. Okay, so I'm in a game right now. You didn't see it, I pushed P to plunge the ball, and the game thinks there's a ball in there now. So to test this, these are my duff targets. I can push this, and there's the D. I can push this is the F. There's the F. So it's like you can see your code working just on your computer, and I'm just using my mouse as the ball. So there's the U, and I'll hit this other F target. So now I've spelled duff. There's the giant duff can. I'm circling with my mouse there, and there's the light to indicate that it's lit. I can hit it, and I collect a duff. And now you see, remember where Moe's was? There's Moe's that I'm circling there. You can see that it's lit. I have it mapped to my keyboard. I push M to go into Moe's. So I push M, and like I'm drinking a beer at Moe's now. So all the code, I'll exit out of this now. I had the sound turned down, but it's playing all the sound. It's doing all the code, and it's as if it were running a real machine. So I was coding my game during the build before I even had anything wired up. I could play various versions of my game just here on my computer. I'm at my desktop computer right now. And I was like, I remember being so scared. I'm like, I was spending hours and hours on my virtual code, and things would work virtually. And I'm like, oh my gosh, when I port this over to my game, it's not going to work. Like some random crap is not going to work. But it did. Like, I'm like, there were a couple of hiccups. I'm not saying I just plugged in the thing and it worked, but when I was ready to put this code on my physical game, I don't know, it took me a couple of iterations of tweaking thing here and there for it to recognize the hardware, but the code was working, and
Yeah.
it just worked.
I
And
mean,
that's not testament to me. That's testament to like these tools that, MPF talks to fast, and it all just works. And I was like, it's a dream come true that these tools are available. I just wanted to bring it around to that, like how friendly it all is. To the extent a pinball machine, making a machine can be friendly,
yeah.
all the nuts and bolts and ins and outs, and
Well,
it's a
just from
mess. But like,
a time saving perspective, like to me, this is just a massive labor savings and being able to like truly test anything real time before you actually have to put it in the machine. Because you didn't have this ability, you would literally be messing with the code,
oh,
upload it, put it in the machine. Oh crap, I found something wrong. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, which would just exponentially increase your build, your coding, all that time spent on this machine. Whereas you could test it, debug it real
yep.
time with, like I said, you got your scoring display, you got your lighting animations, you got everything represented virtually,
Mhm.
to where you wouldn't need to put it over to the game until you're ready to go. That's
Yep.
awesome.
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. It's so cool. So even to this day, even though I've got my real machine there, when I write code, it's here. I test it here, and then when I'm done, I just copy and paste it. I just have a virtual connection to my game over there because it's just running on a PC, my actual pinball machine, just a little PC in there, and I just remote connect and copy and paste the code, and there you go. Yeah, because with coding, you might write a rule that influences a physical decision, or
Hmm.
or vice versa, right? That happened all the time on this game. And anyway, it was a yeah, it was a fun process. I definitely wasted not wasted, but I work from home just like you,
Uh-huh.
and like there were days where like I just didn't work on my job. I was doing the pinball
Yeah,
thing.
you're just head down. You're like, I gotta get this figured out. I
Yeah.
want to do this. Yeah, you're just get the blinders on. You get narrow-minded and focused for sure.
Yeah, so I'm finally starting to get my life back now that the machine is quote unquote done.
So are you enjoying it now? Like it was a labor of love, obviously, but now that it's quote unquote, at a finishing point, not necessarily done, but
Yeah.
are you able to enjoy it for what it is?
Yeah, that's a good question. I do play it. I do play it and enjoy it. It's just one of those things like if because I made it and I know every little part, it's hard for me to enjoy it the same way I enjoy like my Williams games that I have over
Hmm.
there. What I really enjoy though is watching other people play it
Yeah,
because they are having a pinball experience
for the
and I'm
first
like,
time. Yeah.
yeah, and for them it's a pinball machine. For me it's a pinball machine too, but I know every little part of it, so it's hard
Hmm.
it's
It
like
doesn't
a
have that
yeah.
mystique.
Yeah,
Hmm.
exactly. But I do play it now. Every now and then, I fire up a game and I play it as if I were just new to the table, to the machine, and I do have fun with it. Yeah, but it is a different kind of relationship that you have to your own homebrew.
Nice, nice. So is there another one in the works? Do you have, because that's the thing with pinball machines and collectors. Like you buy one pinball machine
Oh
and
yeah,
then all of a sudden it starts growing. I gotta assume it's probably the same kind of thing with this one. You already got other things cooking in your brain
yeah,
as far as future ideas, or it's like, hey, I'm gonna take a year hiatus and I don't want to think about
yeah.
anything for a while.
Yeah, so yes, absolutely. That's what actually why I have all these boards is because there will be another one.
Hmm.
I'm pretty sure I know what it's going to be. I'm debating between two different ideas right now. And I'm in no rush to start it. I want to just kind of meditate on the idea, let things happen in slow motion time while I finish the code on Simpsons. I definitely don't want to start a new project before fully finishing the other one. And by the way, the only thing that needs to be done on Simpsons is the wizard mode. The wizard mode is in production. Everything else is done.
Nice. And I mean,
So
for
once I got wizard mode, then I'm
most,
done.
yeah, I was about to say you truly are done, and you can actually, enjoy the fruits of your labor for sure. And
Yep.
those are the, testimonials that truly make it feel like, okay, this is something I can get down with. So I may have to start one of my projects this winter when I'm stuck indoors and
Yep.
not really going anywhere. That would be a perfect winter project to kickstart, if you will.
Yeah, do it, man. And like I said, I can't wait to see what you do. And hey, if you have any questions, hit me. I'll be able to answer them at this point. Been through it
Oh,
now. So,
absolutely. And like you said, there's a community out there of
oh yeah.
like-minded people, and that's one thing I've noticed, specifically in the pinball world, there's a lot of people out there willing and able to help others in need, because we all know what it's like to waste a weekend
Oh yeah.
trying to track down something that doesn't
Yep.
work. And sometimes, more often than not, it's a simple fix, something that we're overlooking. And sometimes we just need that clarity, that other perspective of somebody, just, that it's not staring at it to say, hey, did you think of this? Have you tried this? And you go,
Exactly.
oh,
Exactly. And
light bulb.
that will
Yeah.
happen, but everyone's there to help. I
Mhm.
will do a gameplay video for my YouTube channel. Probably not for another couple months, so I'm on vacation all of October, but I'll be circling back and getting that video done. But other than that, I'll be trying to get it out to shows next year, probably.
Awesome. Awesome. Looking forward to playing it. And like I said, thanks again for teaching us more about MPF and just the fast system and how you were able to put together your Simpsons pinball machine, man. It's awesome.
Well, thank you, Doug. I appreciate you having me on and sharing, your audience and outreach with me in the pinball world. I appreciate it, man. And I love your channel, love what you do, and keep the enthusiasm going. I love your stuff.
Oh, thank you, man. I appreciate it. All right, man.
Yeah.
Marco, thank you.
All right. Take care.